Hey everyone, in this video we shall create a website using just HTML and CSS. And to follow along, ensure you have the basic knowledge on the workings of HTML and CSS. And if you don't, go watch my series on the introduction to HTML and CSS. The link to that is in the description. Now, let's head over to building our website. To build our website, the first thing you do is to create a folder on your desktop with the name of the website you want to build. In my case, I shall name my folder website. Now let's head over to my folder. This is my folder, the website folder. In the folder, I have a subfolder called the img folder. This is where I shall keep all images for my website. Now, I have another folder called the CSS folder. This is where I shall keep all my CSS files. I just have one CSS file, by the way, the index.css file. Now let's head back to our roots folder, which is the website folder. In this folder we have the index.html file. This file is where we shall be writing all our HTML codes in. To open this folder in VS Code so we can start writing our HTML and CSS codes, let's head over to our VS Code. Click on File, select Open Folder, go down to the folder. In my case, the name of my folder is called Website. You can give it any name you wish to. Now let's select Folder. Our folder is open. As you can see, I have nothing written in my index.css file, and also I have nothing written in my index.html file. The first thing to do is create a boilerplate for our HTML file. And this is our boilerplate. Now let's change the title of our website. In my case, I shall be calling it my website. The next thing to do is to link our HTML file to our CSS file so that anything we do in our CSS file will reflect on our HTML elements and be rendered to the browser for people to see. To do that, let's come here. In the head tag, always remember the CSS file is linked in the head tag. Let's come here. Let's say link, press enter. Let's go to the CSS folder and the CSS file we want to link to our HTML file. And that's how to link our CSS file. Now let's set the type attribute to text/CSS. And that's all. That's how to link our HTML file with our CSS file properly. The next thing, let's select a font family for our website, and I shall be using the Google Fonts API, font.google.com. So I shall be using the Montserrat font family. Select this and copy this link, paste it in the head tag also beneath the CSS link, and that's it right there. Head back to the font.google.com, and just in case I was too fast, to select the font family, you click on this button, on this red button with the plus sign. That's what I did here. So if you want to deselect the font, click on the minus sign. So that's how to select and deselect a font on the Google Fonts platform. The next thing to do, let's copy this. And this shall be pasted in the index.css file in our body selector. And that's it right there. So let's run a test and see what we have. Let's use a h4 heading tag. The migrant solutions. You are welcome. Let's save that. Now let's view this in our browser to see what we have, to see if our CSS file has been linked successfully to our HTML file, and to also see if the font family on our website is now changed to Montserrat. So to do that, let's come to the folder, right click on the index.html file, select Open With, and select Google Chrome. As you can see, our font family has been changed to Montserrat. This means our index.css file is properly linked with our HTML file. So let's head back to VS Code and start coding our website. The first tag we shall be using in our body tag is the header tag. The header tag is a default HTML5 tag used to create a header section in our website. And in case you don't know what the header section is, this is the header section. The header section is the section where you have this Google fonts, the catalog, featured, articles, and about. This whole section here at the top is the header section. So the header tags is used to create that section. Now the next tag will be a div tag with a class of container. The container value is used to set elements to the center. It's a default HTML5 value also used to just set elements in our HTML file to the center, so you can always learn to use that. Then the next tag will be a div tag that has a class of logo. The logo value here is not a default value. You can call it whatever you want to call it. My logo, your logo, their logo, and our logo. Anything you choose to call it. Now, let's head over to the next line. And our logo shall be a text logo. Let's use the h3 heading tag to say foot space. That's going to be our logo. So let's give some headroom here. The next tag shall be our nav tag. Our nav tag shall contain our nav links, and nav stands for navigation. So these are our navigation links on this website: catalog, featured, articles, and about. So to create your navigation links on your website, you need a nav tag. So to do that, we come here and we say nav. Inside the nav tag, we need to create the nav items using the unordered list tag. So let's say UL, which stands for unordered list. Now let's create the list items and let's make them hyperlinks because we want people to click on them so it can take them somewhere. Let's set the href attribute to nothing for now. In between the anchor tags, let's say home, and let's copy and paste into 4 places, and let's say about, let's say services, and now let's say contact. Let's save this. Let's head over to our browser, refresh our page, and see what we have. So coming back to our browser, let's refresh and see what we have. This is what we have currently: our logo, foot space, and our nav links. So let's continue writing our HTML code before we head to CSS to style our page. Now we are done with the header section of the website. Let's move to the banner section of the website. Now let's create a section for the banner, and let's set the ID attribute to a value of banner section. And this is all for the banner section. We shall have nothing in our banner section. Our banner section in reality will just be an image file. Let's head over to the next section, which shall be section. Let's name this booking, and div, let's set a container div. Let's set a h3 heading tag and say want an experience. Okay, now let's create a button tag beneath that to allow them book for an experience. So let's set that to nothing for now. Let's say book now. So we are done with the booking section of our website. So let's head over to the next section on our website, which will be let's set the ID attribute to a value of tiles. In our tile section, let's set a div with a class of container to put everything in the center. And let's set a div with a class attribute set to square. Now, let's inside the square div, let's create an img tag, an image tag with a source property set to our image folder and the box.jpe image file. So let's go down and let's use a h3 tag and let's give it a title, and let's say photo sense. Let's save that. Beneath the heading tag here, let's set a paragraph tag and let's write some stuff in it. Let's say we cover every sense of photography. So your mood is reflected in every shot, just the way it is. Let's stop there. So we want this section to appear 3 times. So to do that, let's copy from here, from the square section, from the square line of our file. Let's copy that and let's paste, and also let's paste. And there is something you have to note. Everything that we are pasting is right in the container div. That's the opening container div, and this is the closing container div here. So let's save this. Let's head back to our browser to see what we have. So over to our browser, let's reload, and you can see what we have now. This is our website. So let's head back to our HTML file. The last section we shall be creating in our HTML file will be the footer section. So let's set an ID attribute with the value of footer. In our footer section, let's just use a paragraph tag and let's say copyright 2020. Let's save that. Now let's head back to our browser to see what we have before we start styling our website. So you can see copyright 2020. Now this is our website using just HTML. Now we shall style our website using CSS and make it look better. To start styling our website, let's head over to the index.css file. In the body selector, let's set the line height of our website to 1.5. This is going to create an even space between every line in our website. So let's refresh to see the difference. As you can see, everything is spaced properly now. So let's head back to our CSS file. Let's set the padding to 0. Always set the padding to 0 and the margin to 0 in the body tag before styling the rest. And let's set the background color to, let's set it to white, and let's set the color to black. Let's save this, go back to our website and look out for a difference. So let's refresh our page to see what we have. As you can see, there is no padding or margin to the left. The next thing we shall style in our CSS is the container value. So If you head to our HTML file, we have lots of class attributes set to container. We have about 1, 2, 3. We have 3 container values. So let's style all of them. So we come here and we say .container. Let's set the width of every container in our website to 78%. Let's set the margin to auto, and let's set the overflow to hidden. That's all we shall be using for our container tags. So let's go back to our browser, refresh, and see the changes. So you can see the difference now. Let's head back to our CSS file. The next tag we shall style in our CSS file will be the header tag. And the header tag will have a background color. Let's set it to a shade of black. And let's say 1B1 E23. That's better. So let's set a color attribute to white. Let's set the minimum height to 60 pixels. And let's set the padding value for the top to 20 pixels, the right for 0, the bottom 0, and the left 0. Let's save that. Let's refresh our browser to see what we have. Now this is what we have. Let's keep styling. The next tag we shall style in our CSS file will be the UL tags, the unordered list tag. And the unordered list tag is in the header tag, also in the nav tag here. So we shall style the unordered list tag, which is inside the header tag. And to do that, we say header UL. Let's set the padding to 0 and the margin to 0. Away from the UL tags, let's style the list items. And the list items also are in the header tag. So we say header LI, and we float this to left. And we set the padding to 0 for the top, 20px for the right, 0 for the bottom, and 20px for the left. Let's save that. Then let's view what we have currently in our browser. So to do that, let's refresh our page to see what we have. As you can see, this is what we have. Our list items are still displayed in a block format. So let's change the display setting of our list items to inline. Let's save this. Let's refresh our browser to see what we have. It's inline currently. The next items to style in our CSS will be the anchor tags in our unordered list. So to do that, we say header list items anchor tags. So let's set the color to white, and let's set the text decoration to none. The text decoration property is the reason why you have each of the items underlined, and we don't want that on our website. So let's refresh our page to see what we have. As you can see, our list items currently are now white and they are no more underlined. This looks better. So let's keep styling. The next item to style in our CSS will be our logo. So let's say header.logo, and the header.logo will be floated to the left. So let's save that. Let's refresh our page to see what we have. So this is floated currently to the left. Now let's head back to our VS Code and let's set the heading tag in our logo div to a margin of 0. So let's say header.logo h3. Let's set that to a margin of 0. Let's refresh our page to see the difference. That works. Let's move over to the nav bar in our header section, and to do that, let's style that by saying header nav. Let's float that to the right. Let's float that to the right, and let's set a margin top of 10 pixels. Now let's refresh our page to see what we have. So everything is now to the right side of our website, and this looks better. So let's head back to our CSS file and let's skip styling. The next thing in our CSS file will be to create a hover effect on our nav links. As you can see, when I hover on our nav links, nothing happens. But I want an experience where you hover on the nav link and it changes to gray or changes to something. So let's just do that. To do that, let's come over to our CSS file and let's say header A, the anchor tag, let's say hover. Let's set the color. When they hover, let's set the color to gray, and let's set the font weight to bolder. Let's save that. Now let's refresh our page to see the effect. Now let's hover on one of the items we have in our nav section. As you can see, it becomes gray. This and this also. So let's head back to our CSS and continue styling our website. Let's move over to the banner section. We are done currently with the header section of our website. Let's move over to the banner section, and the banner section will be called like this: banner section, using the ID value that we gave it. Let's set the mean height to 600 px. To 600 px. Let's set the background image with a URL value in our img file and with the file name banner.jpe in our img folder. So let's head over to the next line. Let's set the background position to center, and let's set the background size to cover. Let's save that. Let's refresh our page to see what we have. Now you can see the image in our banner section is properly placed. Now let's head over to the next section after the banner section and continue styling our website. The next item to be styled in our website will be the booking section, and we call that by saying # booking. Let's set the background color of our booking section to the shade of black we have been using, and let's set the color to white. Also, let's set the padding of this section to 15 pixels, and let's set the text in our section to center. Let's align all of them to center. Let's save this and let's see what we have. Let's refresh our page and let's scroll. Now this is what we have. Let's head back to our CSS file and make that look very good. The next thing we shall be doing is styling the heading tag in our booking section. And the heading tag is a H3 heading tag. Let's say booking H3. Let's set the padding to 0. Now let's style the button tag in our booking section. And the button tag will take a padding of 0. And we'll take a margin left value of 20px. We'll also take a margin top value of 10px. Let's set the width of our button to 100px. Let's set the cursor to a pointer value. Let's set the height of our button to 50px. Let's set the border radius to 10px. And let's set the border value to none. Now let's save this. Let's refresh our page to see what we have. As you can see, there's a border radius. The border radius makes it possible for the edges to be curved. And also, we have one last issue here, which is this item here, the book now item. It's underlined. We don't want that to be underlined. To do that, let's head back to our CSS file. Let's say booking button and the anchor tag. Let's set the color to the shade of black we have been using, and let's set the text decoration to none. Let's refresh our page to see what we have. That looks better now. Let's head over to the next section on our website, and the next section is the tiles section. Let's see what we have here. This is the next section on our website, the tiles section. Let's head over to our CSS file. The tiles section, let's say tiles. Let's set the margin top first to 20 pixels. And let's set the square tag in the tiles section. Let's say tiles square. Let's set that a width of 30%. Let's float this to the left, and also let's set the padding to 10 pixels. Let's align every text element in that section to the center. Let's set the minimum height to 350 pixels. That should be it for the square class in the tile section. Now let's tile the images in our tile section, and to do that we say tiles .square img. Let's set the border radius to 50%. Let's set the height to 80 pixels, and let's set the width to 80 pixels. Now let's save this. Let's go back to our browser to see what we have. Let's refresh our browser to see what we have. Now, this looks better. The next section we shall be styling will be the footer section where we have the copyright 2020. And to do that, let's come over here to our footer section. Let's come over here to our CSS file and let's say footer. We have an ID of footer in our HTML file. We set the ID to footer, so that's why we are using the # and saying footer. So let's say footer. Let's set the background color of the footer to the shade of black we have been using. Let's set the color to white. Let's set the padding to 20 pixels and let's align every text to the center. Now let's save that. Let's go back to our browser. Let's refresh to see what we have. Looking better. Our website has been created using HTML and CSS, but I want to show you something. Now let's reduce our website to a mobile screen. As you can see, our website is not properly displayed on a mobile screen. Everything is not aligned properly. So this means our website is not a responsive website. To make our websites responsive, we shall be using a CSS framework called Bootstrap. The link to my Bootstrap tutorial is in the description. So with Bootstrap, we shall learn how to make a website fully responsive on a mobile phone, on a tablet, on a desktop, or on a TV screen. So go watch my Bootstrap tutorial so you learn how to make a website responsive easily. It's not going to be a long process. It's just 1 or 2 classes put together and everything is perfect and everything is fine. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share. If you have any questions at all, say them in the comment section. I'll be there to respond to your questions. Thank you very much.